Welcome, and thank you for joining me for another edition of 600 Words or Less. Today, we will be reading from the original works of Chris Hutchins in his Impressions collection. Today's title is Adventures in Borrowed Shorts. As a teenager in the late 80s, about the time some of my friends acquired driver's licenses, I discovered that with 4 ways out of town, we are truly at a crossroads here in Sebring. Each direction represents different opportunities for adventure. With spring here, I am reminded of one of those adventures. Locals and longtime residents will appreciate this one, and you may know just the place I am writing about. It all started one day when we were on our way to Fort Pierce to go surfing, and one of my buddies pulled into this place. Names and locations omitted to protect the innocent and to avoid encouraging a new generation to follow in our tracks. As we parked, I raised an eyebrow, to which my buddy responded, "Ever jump off a bridge?" I have to admit I was intrigued, and I really didn't need much coaxing. Just one of my friends to show me the way, and I was gung-ho. After the first jump, I was elated and wanted to do it again and again. It became a regular pastime, and we would make trips to that location for the sole purpose of jumping. We even began to act out scenarios for passing cars. We would stand on the rail with thumbs up, and if they honked, we would jump. Or we would act like we were throwing someone over the rail as a trucker went by. We were ridiculous. We didn't worry about alligators. We figured they had better things to do, and if we saw one, we would just move to the other side of the bridge. Honestly, the worst part was getting back on dry land. If you have ever been swimming and didn't want to touch the bottom or any other unseen objects in the water, then you know the feeling. It wasn't long before I had my own driver's license, and yes, a car. One of my first driving missions was to visit this place that I loved, but there was trouble in paradise. Being an unplanned trip, I didn't have shorts, so I borrowed a pair from a much larger friend. They were about 5 sizes too big. I just held them on with my hand, so it wasn't a problem, until we headed home. I'll explain. Driving too fast on the way home, I passed 3 off-duty deputies in an unmarked car. Not knowing who we had passed, we continued merrily along our way until I came to Loretta. I had enough sense to slow down there, but a sheriff's deputy was waiting and pulled us over. He explained that we had just passed some of his comrades at a high rate of speed, and he would need to see my license and registration. The officer really wanted to make an impression, so he had all 5 of us line up outside the car. Since I was the driver, I earned a special chewing out. When the officer directed me to put my hands on the roof of the car, I could no longer hold up the shorts. They promptly dropped to the ground, no underwear in sight. It was about a split second before he told me to pull my pants back up. I willingly complied and continued employing "yes, sir" and "no, sir" at the appropriate moments. It was a memorable day, to say the least. Not too long after that, I was being lectured by my mom when she asked, "If your friends jumped off a bridge, would you?" I couldn't resist. I said, "Probably. It depends on the bridge."